capitalists and angel investors, they don't invest in a company because they do an ROI calculation. They invest in a company because they fall in love. What happens is that you have a team that comes in and they pitch to you, and the process that happens then is not a logical process, it's an emotional process. And at the end of that pitch, God bless, the VC falls in love with you. Now the question then for entrepreneurs is, hey Bill, if it's not about my spreadsheets, if it's not about my logic, if it's not about my market segmentation, how do I get a VC to fall in love with me? And the answer is, there are different kinds of love, just like in the real world, right? Funny that, entrepreneurship is not the real world, but there are different kinds of love, and different kinds of VCs fall in love for different reasons. So some VCs fall in love with the team. Right? They see this team of talent and dynamism and passion and intelligence, and they're working together, and they're excited about what they're doing, and they fall in love with the team. And they say, I really want to work with this team. I don't care what they're doing. I just know this is such a cool team. They're going to do something good. Right? So there are a lot of VCs who fall in love with the team. There are some VCs who fall in love with the technology. So particularly gadget freak, engineering background, science background VCs, and there are a lot of those guys, right? They fall in love with the technology, and they see your technology do something that nobody's ever done before on the face of the planet. They say, wow, that technology is so cool. This is so amazing, so transformative. I want to be involved with this technology. Or the third kind of love, some VCs, some investors, they fall in love with the vision. They fall in love with what you intend to do to change the world. That they just say, wow, these people, they have such a big, beautiful, wonderful, interesting opportunity vision. I want to be involved in this vision. So I've fallen in love a lot of times, right? And don't tell my wife. She knows, actually. I've only fallen in love with one woman. So, but in terms of entrepreneurs, I've fallen in love a lot of times. The sort of most clear example of falling in love was a company called Delight Design. Delight Design was started by 4 Stanford students who thought, boy, isn't there a better way to provide light to the bottom billion than kerosene lanterns? So if you saw Nathan's presentation earlier today, you saw Luminades. So Delight Design came up several years earlier with this idea of let's design a rechargeable solar lantern that the bottom billion can use. They had a great and incredible vision of how they could transform these villages, how they could transform these societies with a device that was cheaper than kerosene and better in terms of the quality of the light and the safety and the value, right? And so we met these guys and we thought, this is wonderful, but this is one of those social, philanthropic, do-good kind of deals, right? So I like the idea of it, but is this really a venture investment? And the entrepreneur said, Bill, you don't get it. Unless we become really big, we're not going to have an impact. So we are a for-profit, we are going to become big, and we are going to focus on running this as a successful business, not as a philanthropic, do-gooder, nice-to-have kind of thing. And we fell in love with these guys, and they've done phenomenally well. But it's the challenge for all of you is figure out what it is that makes you lovable. Emphasize that. You use Nathan's techniques to get that out in terms of telling the story well. Make yourself lovable, and then what happens is the VCs fall in love. What we do is we fall in love, we go back to our partners, and we try to tell the story in a way that doesn't sound like we've fallen in love, right? And then we do due diligence. The whole point of due diligence is not to build the case for investing. The point of due diligence is to make sure we're not making a mistake. Because we fell in love, right? So that's the dirty little secret about venture capital. The key is you gotta get them to fall in love. Figure out what is lovable about your business. So those are the top 10 new rules.